Hi, I'm Allan Blattner. I'm the Executive Director of Housing here at Carolina, and I've been here just over 10 years.
Where do you call home?
Right now I live in Apex, not too far from here, and originally was born in Chicago.
And were you a first-generation undergrad or graduate student?
I was not. I was very blessed to be born into a family with several of us, my parents and aunts and uncles and things that had gone to college.
And what was your major in college?
After a couple failed attempts at other majors, I was a public administration major.
Great. And what was the most challenging part of your college experience?
Yeah, I think for me, when I came in as a first year student, I thought I was going to play soccer, thought I was going to be a student athlete, and that didn't work out. Coach had a different impression of my skill level. In other words, I got cut, and so I was, kind of. Really wondering kind of what was next, and thankfully found a community in my residence hall, ended up being a student leader, being an RA, and then that really led me to this career now that I've had for 30 plus years.
And if you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self?
That pivot I just talked about, it was pretty scary. When your identity kind of gets put on its ear, I would want to tell myself, don't be so nervous. That good things happen to good people generally. I believe that, and that we're going to be okay. We're going to come out of this okay.
And could you describe what drew you to student affairs?
Yeah, I think, again, going back to that pivot, there were people there in my residence hall that, were able to help me along that journey, and help me realize that there was light, at the end of the tunnel, and we were going to be okay. Helped me get to the Career Center to kind of figure out when my major wasn't going well, how to kind of figure out something different. When I was wondering kind of what I was going to do instead of practice all day long, what was I going to do with my time, helped me get involved in student leadership and become an RA and do all those important things. I mean, that all happened because of, I didn't know at the time, student affairs people. And then as I got, to know them better, and they started to say, there's a career in this, I really felt it was a good opportunity to pay back.
And what brought you to UNC-Chapel Hill?
Yeah, so I was 16 years down at UNC Charlotte before coming up here, and just an amazing 230 plus year legacy of serving students. Would feel very proud to be a part of that history. I talk to my staff about all the time about how we're the current keepers of this really, as it says in our fight song, precious gem, and I'm just really proud to be able to be part of the legacy of Carolina.
What's the biggest misconception about Carolina housing?
I think right now, we've got a wait list, and so we've got a lot of people that are, anxious about that. I think sometimes people may have a misperception that we don't care about that, or that doesn't impact us. I hate giving the answer sometimes that we can't house you today. You have to be patient and wait. But it's the reality right now of us being, a popular housing choice and lots of people wanting to stay on campus. That's a wonderful thing. It means we get to serve and work with lots of students. But because we don't have enough on campus to meet the current demand, it does mean we need to give students some tough, unpopular answers. And, I would want people to know that's not lost on us, and we're not just this faceless bureaucratic, entity that kind of that enjoys that. Every time we have to tell a student we can't do it, we're genuinely sorry that we can't help them.
And what's a special aspect about Carolina housing?
I think if I think about Old East, it was one of the first buildings ever built on a public campus, in this country. And it was and currently is a residence hall. Students stay there. So if you just think about who has lived in that building, the impact that it's had on Carolina, on its students, I think there's something really special about our unique place in higher education in North Carolina's history, and it's just it's part of what energizes me to be here.
And what's the most interesting thing you've learned in your role so far?
That's a great question. I guess, in this role and just over my 30-year career now, that as much as things change, there are just some really, there's elements that remain unchanged. And for me, that's, the students, they want to thrive, they want to fit in, they want to find a place with their people and to be their authentic self. As much as everything swirls around that, those have been kind of capital T truths all the way through my career. And, it's kind of exciting that housing plays I think, a pretty special role in helping students on this campus find that.
Okay, finish a sentence.
Okay.
If I didn't work in student affairs, I would
deal blackjack.
Love it. What's your favorite spot on campus?
Old East, and in particular the library. If you've never been in that building, it's fabulous. And on the third floor, there's this really cool library. It's got a lot of the authentic furniture from way back in the day. It's got lots of pictures of what that building has meant over the years, and it's just a really cool spot.
And do you have a favorite memory from your time at Carolina so far?
Yeah, so in 2017 when we won the national championship and I was out near Franklin Street, my son was a sophomore and we found each other and, just big embrace, and then he went on to do his thing and I went on to do my thing, but it was a pretty cool moment.
What is something on your bucket list?
That's a great question. I've spent some time in Europe, but I would really love to go dig in. I'm kind of talking about Old East and the history, I'm kind of a history geek in that way. And so I'd love to go to Italy, to Paris, I think in particular, and just kind of soak in, just the history that those places bring. Hi, I'm Allan Blattner, Carolina Housing, and please check us out online on all our social media channels or on our website.